Welcome back, Truth Seeker. In the headlines, federal judge grants Harvard's restraining order against Trump administration. This news comes Friday, May 23rd, one day after Trump said they were going to stop Harvard from allowing foreign students and saying that all current foreign students would need to transfer to another school. Doesn't sound very American, does it? Make America Great Again is a very un-American administration, isn't it? They don't like the First Amendment. They want to get rid of that. They definitely don't like the Second Amendment. Trump's on the record. I like take the guns first, due process second. Totally un-American. Anyway, yesterday when this latest saga with Trump and Harvard began, May 22nd, 2025, it was a date with 72 numerology. And I hope you like Ruby's jingle in the background. Ruby's playing her little baby piano. Well done, sweet girl. Anyhow, the day this news broke, Thursday, May 22nd, that Trump was banning foreign students, that was a date with 72 numerology. And in the paths was also a 36. Again, if you don't know how to get the date numerology paths, I broke that down in my first book. Of course, 72 and 36 would both break down to 9, but before you break it down, notice how 72 and 36 connect with the gematria of Harvard. And of course, 72 is not an arbitrary number. It's very important to the Jesuits in their history. Keep in mind the Templars, who had 72 laws they followed, and the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit order's logo. Of course, the Jesuits are the modern-day Templars, but in Gematria, school also equals 72, as does President Trump, as does Jesuit order. The Jesuits serve the Catholic Church, who worship the sun, and the sun moves 1 degree every 72 years on the astrological wheel. Again, there is rhyme and reason to these numbers. But yeah, on the 72 date, Trump does something very extreme, you might say, with Harvard saying no foreign students. Again, something that's very un-American. America is the land of immigrants, thus all the diversity. And as for today, Friday, 5/23, the federal judge coming back with a restraining order for Harvard against Trump. We've talked about some 523 patterns with Trump over the years. In satanic gematria, which is a real cipher, Donald Trump equates to 523. Again, if you're not familiar with satanic gematria, the way the cipher works is A becomes the 36th letter, and you just count up from there. So B's 37, C's 38, and what's crazy is if you write out satanic gematria in that cipher, it equates to 666. And 666 is the 36th triangular number, just like how the cipher begins by counting at 36. Again, we didn't make any of this stuff up. It was literally encoded in the English language by the same Jesuits who put the system together and synced it up with the calendar, which they use every day to create the world, or create the news that controls the minds of the people throughout the world. So, yeah, that's the little Harvard saga in a nutshell. Also today on the 23rd, I got a kick out of this one, another Trump 25% tariff threat. Remember, Trump equals 25. This one's against Apple. Apple, I call it the 23 company. Of course, in Gematria, Apple equals 23. We were doing our stock market group back in 2023. My call at the beginning of that year was that Apple would have a banner year for 2023, and sure enough, it did. The Apple stock smashed in 2023. But what we learned from paying attention to the stock market daily when we did that group is that you'd see companies ebb and flow by the numbers. They might have a nice run, for example, with the 23s, and then it could be a day like today, like the 23rd of the month, and some crazy threat is made, and then all of a sudden that 23 for that company gets flipped on the head, and instead of it being a great day for the company, it becomes a bad day. Again, with our sports decoding, it can be similar types of patterns. Apple's number was up today, but yes, on the 23rd of May, Trump threatens the 25% tariffs. Trump equals 25, Apple equals 23. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Apple equals 22 instead, and today is 22 days before the Trump's birthday. This Billy Joel news. His birthday is May 9th. This story about him having to cancel his tour comes 14 days after his birthday. The word end equals 14. And perhaps this will be the end of Billy Joel's touring career. And it's been a long one. He's getting up there. It's retirement time. But yeah, I do find it funny that this news comes 14 days after his birthday. N does equal 14. If you don't apply numerology to the alphabetic order, N equals 23. So it's the 23rd of the month, 14 days after his birthday. Again, if you're new here, just practice coding numbers into words. Just like how Harvard with the alphabetic order is 72. With the alphabetic order and numerology applied to each letter, it's 36. End. E is the 5th letter. N is the 14th letter. D is the 4th. 5 plus 14 plus 4 is 23. If you apply numerology, E would still be 5. N, the 14th letter, would become 1 plus 4 is 5, and D would be the 4th letter. So 5 plus 4 is 14. So again, 14 days after. Looks like this could be the end for Billy Joel. And of course, he's Mr. Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden just had a heartbreaker. They blew a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, 14-point lead with 2:51 to go, 9-point lead with less than a minute to play. The first ever time in NBA history a team ever lost with a 9-plus point lead with less than a minute to play. And of course, just before that game, Jim Irsay died at 65, the Indianapolis Colts owner. Of course, if you missed my work on that, go back and check it out. I might even put out another short video on that with some additional information, but yeah, they should teach this at the Ivy League because this is knowledge to know. Again, this knowledge is useful for taking advantage of rig markets, rig crypto, rig sports most definitely, not getting your mind manipulated by the rig news. Essentially, this is the knowledge to see through the rig system and take advantage of it rather than getting taken advantage of. It's like that hermetic principle. You're either the one doing the controlling or you're the one being controlled. This knowledge puts you more in control. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Hope you enjoyed Ruby's piano music. And until next